following message is a public service announcement brought to you by your friends at Degeneration X.
Hey YouTubers, Degeneration HanX here, and here's my final installment of my rants involving the stupid holidays that we've been forced to observe this past week, excluding, of course, Easter and this 420 thing, the marijuana-inspired holiday, I guess, which I really don't totally know about. That's why I'm not really going to have an opinion about it at this time. Now, of course, I've done one on Earth Day / Arbor Day. Being it's, for one thing, obviously, why you wouldn't have two separate holidays involving the environment on the same week. Then, of course, we had Secretary's Day, in all intents and purposes, even though they have a more politically correct term about it. Now, let's go to another one of these fun-filled, child-inspired holidays. Take your daughters and sons to work day. Basically, the history of it was it started right around the 1990s, almost 20 years ago. And originally, it was Take Your Daughters to Work Day. Basically, it was the feminists again, thinking that women have an unfair advantage in the workforce, and they decided that the best way to encourage more women in the workforce was to take their daughters, out of school and show them what it's like to a workplace, to encourage them to take out jobs. Well, of course, more sensible people stepped in and said, well, what about the boys? Why can't we encourage boys to be more in the workplace? I mean, I think, thankfully, the sons was added to the term. And I think, personally, I think that daughters and sons should be taken out and just say, take your child to work day if you're going to go by this silly thing. Now, outside of course, the obvious extreme feminist, or what I call the feminazi point of view, another stupid reason why this holiday shouldn't be around is because, for one thing, if you're going to be doing this, what is the use of the concept of career day? Now, career day is where students have their parents come in from their jobs, and they talk about what they do for a living to the students, and basically it helps encourage kids to take up a particular field and work. Now, of course, I think that's a little bit more sensible. Most kids go for this, particular holiday anyway, just so they get out of class. And why in the world would you want to have a bunch of kids hanging around your work all day? You know how annoying kids are, especially kids these days. And basically you're trying to keep an eye on a kid or communing with your kid rather than doing your work. If you're going to have your kid at work, there's a place for them there. It's called daycare. Kids should be at school. Parents should be at work, except for maybe career day. There's other ways of encouraging kids to take up the workforce without having it to be some sort of liberally inspired holiday for it that pretty much is a waste of time. Kids will naturally join the workforce for one reason or another. They don't need to be, first you got to teach them. First you got to teach them basic stuff and education before teaching them about things in the workplace. That's what college is for. That's what trade schools are for. When they're little kids growing up and they're going through normal school, that's the time when they look around the world themselves and watch television and stuff and be inspired for what they see. And then when they still want to be that when they become adults, then there's places like college and trade schools and stuff for them to learn how to be in a specific field. They don't need to have it, be taken to a job, because not all the kids wants to grow up to be like, have their parents' jobs. I mean, this is the 21st century. This is not everybody follows the same footsteps. Regardless of what all those cop and fireman shows show you, not all kids are going to follow in the footsteps of their parents when it comes to what professions they're going to take. It's just, and I know I don't have any kids, and if I was there at a job that allowed this going on, I would not want some crazy bunch of kids running around, bugging not just me, but other workers, and, basically all it does is it slows down production of whatever, tasks they're supposed to be doing. I know mostly this is, this kind of holiday is directed towards office workers, and all as well. You can't have them like at construction sites and cop things and stuff. This is mostly directed towards office workers. But, it's... and if you pay attention to most of the time when they talk about take your child to work day, it's always the emphasis is on the daughter. It's never really on the son, like a lot of these projects thought up by feminists. But they had to throw in the male, the son aspect in this so that they make it appear fair. But if you look at the media about it, it's directed towards mostly girls still, And it's just, and it's also another way of making the newer generation of kids filling their heads up with too much self-esteem and all that kind of stuff, and giving them big egos and basically spoiling them. I mean, where was all this? If this was really a good idea, why didn't they implement it earlier? Like, even before, my time as a kid. Why is it, during the 90s? Women in the workplace has been around since at least World War II, or earlier, that kind of thing. So it's, it's just a silly thing that makes, some people feel good about themselves, that they're trying to encourage kids to work, even though there are already well-established avenues for them to be encouraged. They don't need to be taken out of school to do these kind of things. It's pretty much lame, and all. It's just to make people feel good, and even though it's, once again, it's a waste of time. And that's just my opinion about take your child to work day, not just daughters and sons, but child to work day. I think it just should be, if you're going to keep on with this bullshit, name it, just call it the way it is. Take your child to work day, and also don't just encourage it for one sex. It's stupid, but altogether. But you know what I mean. But that's my final rant involving this little useless week of holidays since Earth Day. And if you're wondering about what I feel about Arbor Day, go back to my Earth Day, Arbor Day rant. You'll know my opinion about that, even though it is older of all these holidays. But I can kind of consider it dumb as well. And stay tuned here for future rants and commentaries here on the Weirdo Network. See ya.
Well, I guess if you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you! Suck it!
I am an idiot.